welcome back. Today I am doing a craft all by myself, and this week we're doing like crafts for kids. So we'll be doing owls and what was it? I can't remember. Mine. Fortune tellers. Ta-da! Okay, so if you could start with a rectangle and put it like this, hamburger as they say, and if you already have a square, then just skip this step. And I forget. So you sort of fold it like that. And so there's like a big triangle. And then you take the scissors and cut off the extras. And you open it back up. And you have this. Then you fold it upwards. Upwards. You don't get the proportions exactly right, that's okay. And so you now have a cross thing. And now, starting with any side, you fold them into the center so that it starts to look like an envelope. And you turn it over. See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you fold those corners in two. So it looks like an envelope. Then you turn over a second time. See these? And you fold it like arg. Proportions unright. Hang on. So that. Then you fold it either way. Again. And you unfold it and unfold it. Then you stick your fingers through these flaps. And stick your fingers through these flaps. They look crinkly, but then you have a fortune teller. And like in these, you put colors on the outside 4 flaps and numbers on the inside 4 flaps, and you write one here, and one there, and one here, one there, and so on, and so forth. And that is how to make a fortune teller. And after you make a fortune teller, some examples are like good ones like you will get dessert, or bad ones like you will get spilled on, or you will get a bad surprise, you will get a good surprise, you will stub your toe, you will get candy. And you could also send one to a friend and have them complete it, or have them make a totally new one and send it back to you. And I think that's about it. And next up, line again.
Alright, welcome back to our book create. We're going to be making a small book, something that you can mail to somebody. It's one of those choose your adventure stories in the sense that you'll start it and send it to somebody, and then they'll add their take and they'll send it back, and you can go back and forth as many times as you agree to. The great thing about this 6-page book is the fact that it's only made from one piece of paper. So I'm going to talk about how to fold this piece of paper so that you can make one of these yourself. You want to start with it vertically set, so the short sides are top and bottom. Take the bottom part, fold it up to the top. You want to line up your corners, hold and fold. You're going to do that one more time, taking that fold that you just made, bringing it up to the top. Once you've got that, you've got one more fold, and then you'll be ready to start making it into the book. You're going to bring one side over to the other. I find it's easier if you put your hand in there as sort of a guide. Once you've got those two corners set, hold and fold. So you have a tiny rectangle. You're going to open that back up once, open it back up twice, and now you're going to put a cut into the paper. You're not cutting anything out, you're actually just putting a cut in. So on the fold, not the open part, but the fold that you made, you're going to follow that fold right to the center. When you cut, you're going to cut right to the center. When you open it up, almost looks like a mouth. What you're going to do is you're going to open that mouth all the way up as if it's yawning. So folding it down. Lining up your corners. You should have sort of that square in the center. The idea is you're just going to push those two sides together, bringing your hands together, and you'll see that it folds right into a book. That last page folding over. Once you've got that, you're pretty much ready to decide what you're going to do with it. Here's one that I'm starting with a friend of mine, Keen. I'm going to start The Adventures of the Mindbender. It's a story that is yet to be written, but hopefully he and I will come up with something pretty impressive. So what you'll do is you want to go ahead and put a self-addressed envelope in there so that when you're ready, they can send it back. Maybe give some directions so they don't just get a random unfinished story in the mail. But you can also make it a joke book. So you could do something like, why did the Scarecrow get a promotion? Because he was outstanding in his field. Whatever you want to do, however you want to choose it is up to you. But now that you know how to make it, you can send them to as many friends as you'd like, and then they can all send them back, and you can go back and forth, keeping in touch and in contact.
So owls, well, right? That's what we're hoping to tell our neighbors. We want to be able to place a little owl right outside their door and have a little note inside of it. So it says hi here, and you can pull out that secret note and open it up and have a nice well wish from one of your neighbors. So we are going to create these and with a toilet paper tube. So if you do not have this size, you can always use a paper towel roll and cut it down. The paper that we're going to use, it's best if you use about an 8 or 5 inches by 8. But if that is not going to work for you, you can always increase the size of paper. Basically, you want to start out with a blank piece of paper that is about a rectangle shape. And we're going to start by finding some good markers, whichever ones you like, and a couple of contrasting colors. And we will create a pattern, something that repeats on our small piece of paper. So on your rectangle that's 5 by 8, we're going to start by creating a pattern. And simple is quick, but it's up to you. You can make it as detailed as you'd like. And I am going to set this one aside and use the one that I already created. So just a simple pattern repeating across. Once you have that done, then you're going to try to line it up at the very base. So you can use some tape if you have tape, or you can use some glue, whichever you prefer. And you're just going to put a little bit of glue onto your tube. Once you get that glue on there, place the tube down on your paper and then roll it. And again, I'm just gonna watch on the base to try to keep it lined up as best I can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but as best you can. And I'm gonna add some glue here to the end. Again, you can do this with tape, so you could have taped that down, and then I could just tape this to the end as well. I probably will have to hold it for a second to just get it to set. You can use a glue stick, that works better for you too. Once I've got that done, I am going to create the ears of my owl by just taking the top and squishing down. Usually you can use the seam as a guide so that you can get it in the middle. Once I squish it down, that gives me my little ears. Once I have the ears, then I'm going to move to using some scrap paper. It's great if you go ahead and cut out a few squares of white paper so that you can easily make round circles for eyes. And if you line them up like this, then all you have to do is trim around those corners. By trimming around those corners, you're going to end up making a circular-ish shape. And if you're able to keep those two pieces of paper aligned, then you'll end up with similar eyes so that you don't get too crazy. Although, of course, some folks, young people in particular, will enjoy making kind of funky looking eyes. Once I get those cut, I'm just going to take a marker and draw in some eyes, again, however you wish. Once you get those eyes drawn in, if you are artistic, you can make them fancy. If you are like me, you can just put 2 little black circles in there and call those eyes. Then we're going to glue those on. Put a little bit of glue on the back of my eyes, or the owl's eyes. Stick those on. And the next couple of pieces you're going to do will be making a beak and also making wings. And again, those things can be done by using scraps of paper. You can make them different colors if you'd like. Standard, of course, would be orange for the beak. What I'm going to do for that is just take a rectangular piece of paper, fold it in half. It's just a little scrap. Once I fold it in half, I keep the fold at the bottom. And then I'm just going to cut off one side. And then I'm going to cut off the other side so I still have that fold in my hand. That will allow me to end up with a little beak. And I can glue down one side of it and stick it on there so my owl has a beak. I'm doing this a little quick, so you may have to kind of squish it and hold it for a second. Once you have your little beak, then you can use a little bit of a larger scrap of paper. And again, I just am going to use blue. You could make them a different color if you wish. And I'm going to make those into a teardrop shape. And that teardrop shape, I will be able to just trim down around those corners and cutting up around the other corner. And I'm going to leave that top point for my teardrop. So I end up with my teardrop. And a wing then will be the upside down shape. So I put the teardrop pointing down, or the raindrop. I'm going to add a little glue. Stick her on. Okay, so now as my little owl friend here dries, he looks quite happy, I will show you how to make that note. The notes sometimes can just be rolled up and put inside, but we thought that the neighbors might not know it was even there if there was a note inside of it. So to fix that, move that away, we're just going to take, actually you may, if you've been making squares for all our other projects, then you will have nice strips of paper that are about the right size for this note. And as you find a strip of paper about that size, I'm going to fold it in half. So bring the bottom to the top, just like that. So it's a nice long strip of paper. And then I'm going to cut right at the end, just to cut down to that tab. What I'm doing is making my little high so that it will stick out. So now that I have that, I'm going to write hi, and then I can go about making a little note on the inside. Maybe I wish them do some sort of a funny owl joke. I'm not as good at those jokes, but an owl joke would be great. Or just a well wish. Let them know that you're thinking of them so that folks are not feeling quite as alone as we can feel in these times. And then I just roll it up and tuck it in so that it sticks out to say hello. Then when I set it on my neighbor's porch or on their, right outside their door, I can set it there, ring the doorbell, and run away and still leave a bit of joy for them to find.